We begin, though, this morning with that rare November storm. Nicole slammed into Florida's east coast earlier this morning as a Category 1 hurricane, packing 75-mile-per-hour winds.
It is bringing high winds and dumping heavy rain, creating dangerous storm surges in the region, a state that's still trying to recover from Hurricane Ian. Yesterday, Nicole swept through the Bahamas, forming dangerous waves before moving north. We have full coverage this morning. Meteorologist Michelle Grossman is following the storm's path. We're going to check in with her in just a minute, but first, let's get to NBC News senior national correspondent Jay Gray was the latest there in Florida. Jay, good morning to you. First of all, just what's the latest on the conditions right now?
Yeah, Joe, Savannah, what a difference a couple of hours makes. I want to give you a look at the coastline here. And boy, the conditions have changed dramatically over the last couple of hours. The pounding rain, the winds that were gusting here up over 60 miles an hour have eased a bit. We're actually getting a bit of a beautiful sunrise along the beach here. We didn't expect that. You can see the waves rolling in, though, and that's a big concern. Look, we've had erosion. These dunes have been pounded over the last 24 hours. We've already seen flooding, and this tide is building. We're moving towards high tide in the next hour and a half or so, and there'll be no dunes to block some of this. So we're going to see that water spill back onto the streets in this area, into homes that line the coast here as well, and it's going to be a major issue. This is a storm that, once it made landfall about 40 miles to the north of where we're standing right now, really downgraded pretty quickly to a tropical storm, but did not lose much of its punch. Remember, this is a massive system with tropical force winds stretching more than 400 miles from the center, so it's really affecting the entire state here. And an update on a number that just continues to climb, and that's those without power right now. Close to 190,000 don't have electricity, and that number is going to grow as this storm now clears through Florida and up into Georgia, and then eventually along the eastern seaboard. Joe, Savannah.
Jay, you mentioned erosion. I mean, the area's beaches are still recovering from Hurricane Ian a few weeks back. So what is the scope of the damage there people are expecting, especially when it comes to the beaches?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very significant. I mean, we saw that over the last 24 hours here, and you're right. There are some areas to our north that saw erosion with Ian, and they're already dealing with collapses there of buildings along the coastline, seawalls that have been destroyed because there's just no base underneath that sand that had been there. And again, we're going to learn more as the conditions ease a bit. We can get out and see some of that, but we know that we've had structural damage to buildings and homes here and really up and down the eastern side of Florida. On the other side of the peninsula, where Ian struck 5 weeks ago, they're dealing with these conditions, again, because it's such a massive storm. And so they're seeing some of the rain. They're seeing some of the wind. Nothing near what they saw with Ian, and nothing that we're seeing here, but enough that it's going to set back their rebuilding, their attempts to come back from that storm for at least a few days. It's just been a rough go for so many in this state, and it's going to continue over the next several days.
You know, Jay, President Biden has declared an emergency in Florida, ordered federal assistance to help in response. I mean, FEMA's still, of course, helping people impacted by Ian. So quickly here, what kind of help can FEMA provide this time around?
Yeah, I think immediately it's going to be a place to stay, and we've got shelters open right now. They're providing food as well. The National Guard is on standby and helping out where they can. So I think it's just going to be that immediacy, giving people a place to stay, a hot meal, and maybe some clothes if they need it. There are going to be people on this side of Florida that will need that over the next 24 hours.
All right, Jay Gray in Florida. Jay, thank you so much.
And let's now bring in meteorologist Michelle Grossman, who's tracking Nicole for us this morning.
Hey, Michelle. Hey there. Good morning.
Hey there, guys. Great to see you. And we're going to be tracking Nicole not only today, but tomorrow as it moves up the East Coast. The good news is it's a fast-moving storm. So it did make landfall as a Category 1 storm, 75-mile-per-hour winds earlier this morning, right around 3 o'clock in the morning, just south of Vero Beach, Florida. And now it's over central Florida. So look at Doppler radar. You can see that we have winds gusting still. We have really heavy rainfall. Jay mentioned that we saw winds gusting really strong as we went through this morning. We're still seeing those winds gusting. So Cape Canaveral saw 73-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Melbourne, 73 as well. Cocoa Beach, 66 miles per hour. Cocoa Beach is still seeing some really strong beach erosion. Again, structures will be damaged. We're seeing people losing their backyards. So I urge you to go on Twitter and just look at some of these pictures. It kind of puts it into perspective of what is actually happening. And this is a really rare event. We do not normally see landfalling hurricanes in November. Really, this is a second in Florida in recorded history, which dates back all the way to the 1800s. So this is the latest on Nicole. It is a tropical storm. It weakened rapidly as it moved inland as expected. Winds still strong, though, at 60 miles per hour. Those are sustained. We'll see winds gusting higher than that. It's moving fast, though, moving northwest at 14 miles per hour. But we are seeing some really heavy rainfall. And as Jay mentioned, it is wide-reaching. This is not the most powerful storm we've seen, but it is big in size. So we're seeing rain stretching all across the state of Florida. Really heavy rain where you see those reds, especially the oranges, the yellows. And we're still seeing winds gusting this morning at 55 miles per hour. Every single time I look at the power outage numbers, they go up every single half hour, I feel like. And that's going to continue to happen as this moves across the peninsula. So as we go through the later part of the day, it's going to continue to move across Florida. It's going to jump into the Gulf quickly and then make a second landfall over the panhandle of Florida. We do have an isolated chance for tornadoes today. That always happens with landfalling tornadoes. They're not the long stretching ones or long tracking ones, the big ones, but still they're quick spin ups and they cause some damage on their own. And then we'll see this make a right-hand turn. By Friday, we're going to see some heavy rain throughout the mid-Atlantic, the Appalachians, even portions of the Ohio Valley, the Northeast into New England. Look at all that rain ahead of Nicole. Again, lots of darker colors, brighter colors, because we are expecting some soaking rains on Friday. It's going to be a messy day. If you can work from home, that's probably a great idea. Also, some really gusty winds as well. That's going to be one to watch on Friday. Finally, exiting off the New England coast on Saturday into Canada. So your rainfall forecast locally, 4 to 6 inches. We certainly could see up to 8 inches in some spots, and that's going to cause a risk for some flooding. And as we move further north, same story. We have soaking rains too through Saturday, where you see those pockets of heavy rains along the Appalachians, especially the higher elevations, the mountains in western Pennsylvania. That's going to be a particular concern as well. And then we will end it here. We're looking at storm surge. Now, this is particularly dangerous, life-threatening, especially when you see 3 to 5 foot storm surges. So we will be watching this very closely as well. Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle. Appreciate it. Now to the political forecast and the latest on the midterm election. This morning, ballots are still being counted in a handful of states, and that means the balance of power in Washington is still up in the air.
Yeah, President Biden held a news conference yesterday at the White House in an election where Democrats fared much better than expected. Biden said it was a, quote, good day for America.
Our democracy has been tested in recent years, but with their votes, the American people have spoken and proven once again that democracy is who we are.
We have team coverage of the midterms, including NBC News reporter Julie Sirkin with more on the fight for control of Congress. We also have Guad Venegas in Nevada and Ali Rafa in Arizona, where votes are still being counted this morning. But first, we're going to start with NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba. Monica, great to have you on with us. So it was unclear initially, actually, if we would hear from the president, but we did. So tell us some of the key takeaways from Biden's speech.
We did, and for an extended period of time, Savannah, the president taking a lot of questions and somewhat of a victory lap. Of course, it's hard to label it that, given we still don't know what the outcome is going to be with the House or Senate. But the fact that the president came up with this optimistic tone and said Democrats defied the expectations, even some expectations some of his own White House aides had set out for this night, signals that they were quite pleased with how their party fared. And this was a president who did come out and say he was essentially buoyed by a couple of the issues that they had focused their midterm strategy on in the closing weeks that they feel really resonated with voters. The first of those being the issue of democracy and having that on the ballot, saying essentially that the job of people when they go to the ballot box is to strengthen democracy. That's an argument and something President Biden had been talking about a lot in those final days. And then also the issue of abortion. That's something I'm told that the White House really felt was like a vindication and a validation of the time that they spent working on that issue and trying to mobilize voters and translate that energy to having them show up. And based on the exit polls, that is certainly what happened. So this is a president who says, look, we know we're going to now have to reach across the aisle, work with Republicans. There's a lot left to do. But he definitely came out and felt like this was something that was better and that he was maybe had been underestimated by some of the pundits heading into election night. Savannah.
Monica, let's not talk about how people potentially feel about the president himself. I mean, despite Democrats' stronger showing Tuesday night, NBC News exit polling did show that voters are skeptical about a potential Biden re-election bid. 67% of voters saying they do not want to see Biden run for a second term. What's the president's response to that?
Yeah, and the interesting breakdown is that out of that 67%, 43% of those are Democrats. So, and of those, of course, who said they did want him to run again, that's more like 80% of Democrats. So you do still see some support, of course, for the incumbent president, but there are a lot of calls and questions about his future. He has said that he does plan to do this all over again, but that no final decision has been made. And this was framed to him not just about a potential other 4 years, but how things may go in the next 2 years leading up to that if he does decide to run again. Take a listen to that exchange from the press conference.
What in the next 2 years do you intend to do differently to change people's opinion of the direction of the country, particularly as you contemplate a run for president in 2024?
Nothing. Our intention is to run again. That's been our intention, regardless of what the outcome of this election was.
Our is the key word there, Savannah, because he says he's going to talk to First Lady Jill Biden. They're going to make a decision together with their family. They're going to be having those conversations over the holidays. And then he says that there will be a decision officially early next year.
Monica, also, while I've got you, I want to talk about potential control of the House here. I mean, while it has not yet been determined, still waiting on votes, still have quite a few seats we have to call. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is already making moves, in a sense, to become Speaker if the GOP takes over. What does President Biden's next 2 years of his first term look like if that happens?
Certainly could be complicated. This is, look, a gridlocked Washington. We've seen it before. It's possible not a lot could get done. Despite that, the president, though, says he is going to be reaching out to Republicans. He wants to work with them on certain issues. He did have some bipartisan support for things like infrastructure in his first year or so. So they're trying to see if there are other issues like that. But of course, you can expect Republicans to also launch what they've already promised, some investigations into everything from the origins of COVID to the president's withdrawal from Afghanistan, potentially even into his family members, including Hunter Biden's business dealings. But we do know that the president leaves for this foreign trip tonight. He'll be gone for about a week. And then when he gets back, he says he's going to invite congressional leaders of both parties to try to come together, have a meeting, and figure out what the agenda looks like going forward. Hopefully we'll have results by then.
All right, Monica Alba, thank you so much.
Speaking of results, let's head out west to Arizona, where both the race for governor and for Senate are still too early to call. And that's where we find NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Rafa, who is in Phoenix for us. So, Ali, good morning. Big picture here. What's the latest on those two races? And we know that Arizona likes to take its time counting the votes. So have election officials given any sort of timeline on when they believe all the ballots will be counted?
Yeah, Joe, the simple answer to that question is that it is still too early and still too close to call both the Senate and governor's races in this election. And election officials here say they don't expect that to change until at least tonight, but they're warning this could still take a couple more days to be counted. And that's because specifically of a batch of 275,000 ballots here in Maricopa County that we expect to start to be tallied today. These are mail-in ballots that were hand-delivered on Election Day instead of mailed in. In 2018, these ballots turned Democratic. In 2020, they veered Republican. So that's going to be a major indicator in this race of where these ballots could be trending. We know that Republicans have tended to favor in-person voting on Election Day. So it's likely that these ballots will be more shifting in favor of Kerry Lake and Blake Masters in both the governor's and Senate races, Joe.
A lot of mystery about what those ballots have in store for all of us. So let's focus in on the race for governor, which is the closer of the two races right now. Republican Kerry Lake has really made a name for herself, vehemently denying the results of the 2020 election. And then during this election cycle, she's now raising the red flag over vote tabulation machines that malfunctioned briefly in Maricopa County on Election Day. What are election officials saying about that?
Yeah, Kerry Lake was one of several Republicans that, as soon as these issues were reported in Maricopa County, was spreading misinformation on social media that election officials here in Maricopa County were trying to debunk in real time as this misinformation was spreading. And she was actually on Fox News last night and took this one step further, saying that if she's elected, she'll call for a special legislative session to overhaul Arizona's election system. She said that Arizonans are, quote, tired of shoddy elections that are run by imbeciles. But, Joe, election officials here are saying that despite all of these issues with these tabulation machines, that it didn't restrict people from voting. It affected around 7% of the ballots here, around 17,000 ballots, but there were backup options and redundancies in place to be able to ensure that anyone who wanted to cast a ballot was eventually able to. They released a statement last night saying that just when this election is all over, they're going to be investigating really what caused this issue to happen, because they said that they used the same machines in the primary and didn't experience any of these printer issues that have since been resolved, Joe.
All right, Ali Rafa in Arizona. Ali, thank you.
Now let's head northwest to Nevada, where they also have two critical races that are still too early to call. NBC News correspondent Guad Venegas is in Las Vegas with more. Guad, good to see you. So we're still days away, really, from seeing a winner in both the race for governor and the Senate there as the state works to verify these mail-in ballots. Right now, though, it does look like both GOP candidates seem to have this slim lead over their Democratic opponents. Walk us through what we're seeing this morning.
Savannah, good morning. Right, they still have a lead. That's a lead that they had, after Election Day. We expected this because of the larger number of Republicans that showed up to vote in person. But the lead has diminished after one day of votes being tabulated after Election Day. So just so that we explain things, Nevada is a state where everyone gets a ballot at home, and voters here have the option to fill in that ballot, drop it off in the mail, or they can do early voting, or they can also go to one of the voting centers and drop off their ballots in the drop boxes, or they can also, of course, go on Election Day. So these are all the options that they have. Right now, all the ballots that are left are a combination of the mail-in ballots and the drop box ballots. So yesterday in Clark County, where most of the votes left to count are located, we got information that they had 26,000 mail-in ballots that had come in from Monday and some from Tuesday. And I'm explaining a lot of these little details because you have to understand all the different pieces and where these votes are coming from. And those ballots help the Democrats catch up. So when you look at the numbers as of yesterday in that Senate race, Catherine Cortez Masto was losing by about 23,000 votes to Adam Laxalt, and she was able to catch up. Adam Laxalt's lead is now about 16,000, less than 16,000 votes. So those mail-in ballots are helping the Democrats catch up. And then if you look at the other race, in the governor's race, Lombardo was up by about 40,000 votes. He's now up by about 34,000 votes. That's after one day of votes being tabulated. Now, at least here in Clark County, we know that 26,000 mail-in ballots had been dropped off here. Again, that was for Monday and Tuesday. Those were going to be tabulated first. And then it was later in the day that we found out that the drop boxes on Election Day had about 57,000 votes. Those have still not gone into the system. So you can see there's a lot of votes that still need to be counted. And that's Clark County, where most of the votes are located. We still have Washoe County, the second largest county, and some of the rural counties. So the mail-in votes are going to be coming in. And what we've seen from the first day after the election, they are favoring the Democrats.
Clark County Registrar Joe Gloria is set to give a press conference later today, kind of update people on what's happening here. What are you expecting to hear from him?
Right. So the numbers we got yesterday were from Joe Gloria, the Register of Voters. He's going to give an update every day at 11:30. They promised this. They have said it's going to take a few days as they get more and more of these mail-in votes. And, he goes over the process of what they're doing in there. And there's a lot of details. It's difficult to understand a lot of the details because aside from the votes that they get, there's other things they have to pay attention to. Like, for example, the signatures in the mail-in ballots. They have to cure the signatures. There's some cases where people are informed that they have to go somewhere to make sure that their signature was properly filled in, or if there was an issue. That's something that they've set up a whole system and a website for people to make sure that their signature has worked. And then they also have something like provisional ballots. These are individuals that voted in person, but it was a provisional ballot that still needs to be verified. So these are the types of things that they're also dealing with as they tabulate the mail that's coming in. And also, he was explaining to us that it takes time. Voters were allowed to take their ballots to the post office until the day of the election. It gets postmarked. These ballots make it to the post office, and then that has to make its way to this building where it's being processed. So these things do take time. The ballots come in batches, and they're going to be informing us every day at 11:30 what the update is, but they have warned us it's going to take a few days.
All right, Guad, thank you so much.
From on how all these races could shift the balance of power in Washington, let's bring in NBC News reporter Julie Sirkin. Julie, good morning to you. Let's start with the House. Right now, Republicans do have a slight advantage over Democrats when it comes to the battle for the majority there. They've flipped a number of key districts this week, though we're obviously still waiting on the outcomes of several more contests, which is why we don't know what the final numbers are going to be. We do know President Biden has spoken with House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. What's all that about? What do we know about McCarthy's future if the House does turn red?
Yeah, well, look, 2 nights ago when Kevin McCarthy was holding what was supposed to be his victory party, he told reporters in the room, when you wake up in the morning, Republicans will have the House majority. 2 mornings later, I'm sitting now with you, we still don't know who will control the House. So clearly, as we've been saying since Election Day, Democrats had a much better Election Day than expected. Kevin McCarthy, though, still vying for the speakership. Yesterday, my colleagues Kyle Stewart and Kate Santalas actually caught him leaving his office. Take a listen to what he said.
Leader McCarthy, do you have the votes for both the majority and the speakership?
Yes.
You do. What about the Freedom Caucus? Have you spoken to President Biden today?
Yeah.
Yes. How was the call?
Look, so knowing that he's going to have to win over more in his party than he planned to get that speakership gavel. Remember, he needs a majority total to get that. He actually had Marjorie Taylor Greene in his office. My colleague spotted her entering. He knows he needs her vote and everybody like her in his party in order to secure the speakership gavel that he's been planning for since he got into Congress about a decade ago, right? He's been working for the speakership. He knows he wants it. And with President Biden hinting that he was going to have this phone call with him, you heard Kevin McCarthy say it was a good one at the end. We, of course, don't know what else they two discussed, but President Biden knows he's going to have to work with a potential Speaker McCarthy.
And Julie, let's move to the Senate, also up in the air this morning. Basically, Democrats would need to win sort of 2 out of these 3 key races of Nevada, Arizona, and then Georgia, the runoff there. So how does President Biden feel about Democrats' chances of staying in power in the Senate? And what challenges would he face if Republicans retake the majority there?
Yeah, President Biden yesterday in his news conference, as you heard Monica talk a little bit about, he felt pretty good even about the House, right? But the reality in Democrats that I'm talking to, they know the Senate is the place that they could potentially still keep. And you're right, they need just 2 of those 3 races. Remember, they had incumbents in Arizona, in Nevada, and in Georgia. If they can defend at least 2 of those, they will keep the majority. If they can't, and potentially if they can defend Nevada and Arizona, I should say, they might not even need Georgia, which is going to head to a runoff, and we're not going to know the results of that until December. So a lot of work remains to be done to secure those seats. But again, President Biden knows he's likely going to have to work with a divided government. The last 2 years, he had very close margins, even though Democrats did have control of the House and Senate. This time around, even if Republicans take the House, let's say Democrats keep the Senate, he's still going to have to work a lot harder than he did in the last 2 years to try to get anything across the finish line, even some of those key items they have to pass, like defense bills, budget bills, and Ukraine, of course.
And we saw how hard it was in the first 2 years, so imagine how hard it'll be in the next 2 years if that happens. Julie Sirkin, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.